today you have the floor. Tell us about Eminem's brand spanking new album. What did you think?
All right, so Eminem dropped The Death of Slim Shady Coup de Grace on July 12th. 19 songs, 1 hour and 4 minutes.
Oof. Longer.
Um,
That's 10 minutes longer than Megan.
okay,
Thank you for your service.
no problem. So this was an interesting listen for me because I'm one of the people who used to be a big Eminem fan and then did not listen to Eminem at all.
You were an angry teenager?
Absolutely. Come on.
Okay.
Are you kidding? How could I not be?
I was just asking because I mean the writing is on the wall.
Come on, man. Just cleaning out my closet every time I was mad at my mother. She grew to she grew to hate that song.
I would imagine so.
Probably gets traumatized every time she hears it today. Anyway, yeah, I definitely was an Eminem fan for a long time, and then I think it's fair to say his career took a dip, and so I didn't travel with him after that. I think I said here last time when we talked about Houdini that I listened to a certain point till a certain point, and then I stopped, and then people tried to get me to listen to Recovery, um, and I heard Recovery, but didn't feel like a lot of people felt about it, and then never listened after that. So I didn't know what to expect going into this album. Houdini was the only thing we'd heard prior, and I wasn't the biggest fan of Houdini. Um, and so I guess I'll start there. So the theme of this album is that there is a struggle going on between Slim Shady and Marshall Mathers. And throughout the album, they are beefing. They are trying to get rid of each other. And so it
Okay.
is a power struggle. It is obviously a concept album.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the whole thing, right? Like there's a fight scene. There are conversations between the two people.
Mm-hmm.
Slim Shady is said to be back and trying to take over. Marshall Mathers is trying not to allow it. And so this theme is reoccurring throughout the album.
Okay.
Um, so I now understand why Houdini exists, why it sounds similar to Guess Who's Back. Um, because it's supposed to be this Slim Shady character or persona resurrecting. That's part of him. So there are certain songs which are clearly from the perspective and voice of Slim Shady. There are
Okay.
other songs which are from the perspective of Marshall Mathers. And so this theme goes on throughout the album for about 12 songs, I want to say, more or less. Something like that. I listened to it twice in 24 hours. So if I'm wrong, fans in the comments, please forgive me. But for something like 10 or 12 songs, this is going on.
Okay.
Um, and so you understand the concept pretty well.
Okay.
Um,
Good.
and so where Houdini is in the album makes sense. Um, so that's the first theme of the project. The second theme is this is a battle against cancel culture.
Okay. Well, that makes sense because it. I mean, is Houdini the song that was released already?
Yes,
Yeah. I mean, all the things he said made it sound like he's like,
that's nothing. He speaks about quote midgets, quote paraplegics, quote Christopher Reeves, um deaf people, blind people.
Oh.
The list. Oh, Lizzo. There's a song that's pretty much about Lizzo and America's health. Uh, that was really interesting to me. It's about body positivity being fake and people not being healthy, and how we should probably spend more time on trying to diet and lose weight and exercise and fix our lives, as opposed to fake championing um being fat. um so yes, Lizzo is name dropped in that song. um there are a lot of kind of push the envelope lyrics, um which, if you are an Eminem fan, you know that that's kind of what the Slim Shady character has always done.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is kind of an album that's saying cancel culture shouldn't exist, and I'm going to say all of the things that should get someone canceled. Uh, because I probably can't be canceled, and cancel culture is really stupid. Um,
Okay.
and so that is mentioned and mocked throughout the album. Um, there's even a part where Marshall Mathers asks Slim Shady, "Hey man, what the hell are you doing?" He says, "Oh, I'm trying my best to get us canceled." So these are the two themes that run concurrently during the project. And so now that I've explained all of that, I think it's a really interesting concept.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I appreciate the creativity and the effort on this project. Um, the feature choices were very interesting. Um, and there is a balance of how I word this. There's a balance where they say for the last few albums, um, Eminem has just been rapping what they call lyrical miracle style, where I'm going to punch in, excuse me, not punch in. I'm going to place as many rhyming schemes as possible in every bar, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna rap faster than quote unquote most people, so you
Okay.
can see the level of skill that I'm at. I'm going to prove my lyrical prowess, and I'm going to prove that I'm the best rapper skill wise out here. That's what people have said about Eminem for years. The last couple years, that's all he's done allegedly. I don't know. I have not heard those projects, so I cannot say yay or nay. What I can say is that's not what happened here. There was some of that, but it was a lot less than what I am told he has done in the past. This was more about being creative and just making good songs that went along with the theme. And so I thought it was a good project. As a person who enjoys doing themed projects myself, or what they call concept albums, I thought the mission was accomplished.
Rabbit, rabbit, rabbit.
Yes, Rabbit Hole is one of my concept projects. Thank you for the shout out. But as a person who likes doing those and has quite a few of those, I think that the mission was definitely accomplished here. He explained what coup de grace means and why that's you. Once you hear what it is, you understand the title. It is the big final act, and so it makes sense that the Death of Slim Shady is that. And so there was some silliness, which I'm not a fan of silly Eminem stuff like Houdini and other songs. But there were deep songs about, like, there's a song about his daughter. There's a song for his daughter, rather. It's basically saying, play this when I die, and his instructions to his daughter for after he passes. Um, Even the conversation between the final conversations between Eminem and Slim Shady. There's a lot of like introspection there. Um, there are songs that speak about like his family and how he let them down and how he let addiction consume him at one point. And so those things also are there along with like the super silly anticky stuff. Like there's an entire song that makes fun of Christopher Reeves. And they note that later in the album they explain that that song was recorded in 2004 and was supposed to be on the album that came out at that time, but that's when Christopher Reeves died, so the song was shelved. But even that is made fun of because that's part of the whole thing, right? Where Slim Shady just wants to be a loose cannon who is uh, goofy and pushing the envelope, and Slim Shady's thing is you couldn't have got where you got without me. And Marshall Mathers' thing is, well, I don't really need you anymore. So I think the project. Oh, go ahead. I see a question coming.
It sounds like a really creative way, a really strategic way of trying to excuse your bad behavior.
No, it's the opposite.
Conceptually, yes, it sounds really interesting and really creative, but then to get all the stuff off so you could be like, well, I don't want to be that way, it sounds like a really crafty way to say the things that you want to say, but rationalize why you're saying them.
I see why you say that. It's kind of the opposite. It's kind of so yeah. In one aspect, it is that because of the whole poking fun at cancel culture thing. Um, so yes, there is that part, but the other part is this isn't okay, and I'm mature enough not to do this anymore. I also don't need this to sell records anymore. It's
Only I am doing it.
sure.
Because he is. That's kind of what I mean, right? Because what you're saying, I totally understand, but he is doing it. He's saying, I shouldn't be doing this, but he's doing it.
Yes.
I don't know. It's interesting to me, but
It's like binge eating before you go on a diet.
yeah, it's like, yeah, it's
That's what I
like,
thought about. It was like I'm gonna eat all the ice cream and cake and cookies because I can't have it anymore. So I'm
it's,
gonna I'm gonna get it out my system.
it's like, it's like cheating on your partner the night before your wedding. It's
That's
like that.
extreme. I get it.
I don't because there are people who say they go to their bachelor party, bachelorette party, and they do whatever they want to do, and then that's supposed to be like, well, I'm doing that because I'm getting it out of my system, but I'm gonna go commit to this person tomorrow. But you already made a commitment to the person, so this is cheating, no matter how you flip it or dip it, unless you were given permission to do so. But in the argument that you weren't, it's it's a way to excuse your bad behavior by saying that I've changed, but I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. But I did change, which
Yeah,
I
I,
think is
I see
kind
what
of
you're saying.
I think it's kind of like coming from Eminem. That just to me sounds like, oh well, I don't know if I believe you because this is you. Yes, you have rode on this. I will say things that are salacious. I will say things that are shocking and egregious and will offend people in order to make my money. And to me, it sounds like he still had to do that. Um, a concept album, no less. But my only point here is because, like I said, I think the concept is very creative, But at the same time, with the messaging is like, well, you are doing the thing that you're saying you shouldn't be doing or don't want to be doing anymore. But you did it, and you did the same thing you used to do, where you used it to sell albums. So how
Yeah,
different are
and
you?
I think, well, the point is, allegedly, this is it. This is, to use an Eminem pun, the curtain call.
Okay, I mean, I get it. I understand what you're saying. Um, Very
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, I think it's interesting. I didn't hear anything that was absolutely horrible. I don't like the silly, ridiculous, over the top Eminem stuff. Those songs were hard for me, but I'm sure the fans who enjoy that type of stuff will love that. I just think that this was a balanced project.
Mhm.
You got a little bit of the rap god, super lyrical miracle type of stuff. You got the silly stuff. You got the introspective stuff. You got the sad stuff. You got the happy stuff. And so, I think this was a good body of work. I think it was a good concept. Yes, Alon, thank you very much. Um, I think the mission was accomplished, and I think that this is an album that, it may not be your favorite Eminem album, but I think that you can sit and enjoy it and the journey it takes you on.
Okay, that's cool. I dig that. It sounds like you had an interesting time listening to it.
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all, but it is a journey. It's almost like watching a movie. I could totally see him doing some type of short film for this or something.
Yeah.
It would make a lot of sense to do so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I find it interesting that he's back.
I mean,
And
he's
yeah,
been putting albums out consistently the last 4 or 5 years. I just don't think that they had the promotion and style that this had. And I think he's heard all the criticism of all he does is the quote unquote lyrical miracle stuff, and said to himself, okay, then let me show that I can do more than just that. Perhaps it's time to uh, grow as an artist and stop only trying to prove that I'm the best rapper.
yeah. And I guess when I say back, I mean more. I think this is the first time, at least for me, in years that it seems like it's very widespread that he's got this music out. He's seems to be on the socials promoting it. He seems to be very this to
Yeah,
me is was a pretty standard rollout. I
yeah.
don't know if that happened for his last few projects. I honestly don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but
No, I understand
I
what you're saying.
didn't see it, and I'm not anybody to I'm not I'm not the deciding factor on who who whose rollout is done a certain way or not. But I just don't think that or not a deciding factor on who's hot and who's not. So maybe I just didn't notice that he was doing that in the past. But it seems to me that a bigger um, this got a bigger push. This was something that he wanted the masses to take in. So
Yeah, I agree. And I was trying to cut you off. That's what I was going to say. I think this is less for the hardcore Eminem fans or stans, and more of, okay, let's get a mainstream album out there, something that is palatable for the masses. So yeah, I agree.
well, I hope everybody who listens to it enjoys it. Um, I'm probably not going to listen to it if I'm being honest.
We got that from your last your last sentence. Oh man.
I was just not a fan like y'all were. So, and that's fine. Like that's no disrespect to him. I just wasn't. Um, and tomorrow we will. I'm not even a big fan. It's just when you draw straws. And this is the straw.
The gig is the gig.
The gig is the gig. I will review Megan by Megan Thee Stallion tomorrow.